Hello everyone, how's it going today? It's the Professional here today, and today we are reviewing the Doomsday Heist. We are reviewing the heist itself, not the update. We have reviewed all the major vehicles, now let's review the heist. And I'm going to break this review down into 3 parts. I'm going to break it down into story, the first part, gameplay, missions, and the third part is going to be pay. So let's start out with story, and also just to warn everybody ahead of time, I'm going to discuss major spoilers in this, so if you have not completed this, do not watch this video because I don't want to spoil it for you if you haven't completed the heist, because I am going to be discussing what happens in the heist. So to get this review started, you have to purchase a facility. You need a facility in order to start the Doomsday Heist, and you can upgrade it. You have to pay a lot of money for this facility, especially if you want the upgrades, and it's kind of disappointing that it's really disappointing that you can't really do anything else in this facility except like really use the orbital cannon. There is a security room with an armory, but I mean the only real thing you can do in this facility is use the heist. There's nothing really new to offer. There's no new business, so it's kind of disappointing how you have to buy a whole facility, you have to buy a whole new property just to start the heist. So that's the first thing here. You need to own this facility. You can customize it how you want, but even a minimum facility, you'll still be able to do the heist. So if the upgrades don't interest you, don't upgrade it, just do the heist. So when you first enter the heist planning room, you're introduced to this new character by Lester called Avon Hertz. And Avon Hertz is a billionaire. He has not appeared in the GTA storyline as far as I know before, so he's a relatively new character. And upon first meeting this guy, you will not like this guy. I'm going to tell you guys that I did not like this guy at first. I thought that he was really annoying, and I can't stand how he's full of himself, and he thinks that he's constantly better than everyone else, but then he's paying people to do the work for him. So he constantly thinks he's better than everyone else, and that's going to be explained a little later on what happens. But he tells you guys about this plot that's going on. He tells you guys that there's some major plot against the US and that the Russians are involved, and it gets really crazy. Like, the story doesn't really make sense at first. You're like, what the hell is going on here? He sends you on these ridiculous missions, and the first act, when you complete the first act, you will have no idea what's happening. Like, I did the first act, and I had no idea what the hell was going on. Like, they were saying something about foreign agents, Russians, and everything like that. The first act, once you complete the first act and you go through it, at the very end, you are going to be fighting through this giant like government facility, and you're going to be fighting all these foreign agents who look like Merryweather, and then that you get told that it's the Russians. But then that moves on to Act 2. Act 2, you actually believe it's the Russians. You go on, you're doing a bunch of missions, and there's a giant Russian submarine off the coast in Paleto Bay, and your goal is to infiltrate the submarine and plug Avon's supercomputer personality Clifford into the submarine's mainframe. And you know, from the start of this, even from the trailers early on, I knew that you were going to get betrayed. I knew that Clifford was going to screw you over, and that's pretty much what happened here. It actually turns out that Bogdan is actually the good guy here, and that he's a rogue Russian agent, and he's leading a rogue Russian unit, and their goal was to actually stop Clifford and Avon all along. I thought that Avon wasn't going to be in on the conspiracy. I thought that he was just going to be killed off, and I thought that Clifford was going to go mad with power, but it turns out that they were both in on the conspiracy, both Avon and Clifford. But I saw this coming. I don't know how many other people saw this coming, but I definitely saw this coming from the trailer when I saw the Clifford symbols on a lot of the vehicles. But turns out, like I said, Bogdan is a good guy. The submarine gets destroyed, and for some strange reason, like when you plug Clifford into the submarine, he gains like total power over like the US Defense Network for some reason, and now that the US government can't even fight him for some reason, and that they have to rely on professional criminals to deal with it. I mean, it's fun and all, and it's like an outrageous storyline, but it's not realistic at all. So if you're looking for a realistic storyline, you're definitely not going to get it here. This is probably the most outrageous heist, the most outrageous missions that I've seen in Grand Theft Auto 5. This includes story mode and online, so these are definitely the most outrageous missions that I've seen. I'm guessing that Clifford probably gets a lot of his power from the other setup missions that we were doing, where we were stealing the computers and we were preventing the Russians from destroying the computers. But still, it just doesn't make sense how you just do a few missions like this, you hack into some Russian sub, and now Clifford has total power over the US. And now you have to stop Clifford, and you have to stop Avon, and another thing that kind of bothers me about this is apparently like Avon has some type of clone army that's controlled by Clifford, and the clone army, it's not really explained how he created this clone army, where this clone army exactly came from, and they're just there, and they're just Avon's goons. It doesn't explain where he got all these clones from that are just attacking you all of a sudden. So some other familiar characters return, including UL Paper from GTA 4 and GTA 5, and Agent 14 from Gun Running and the Humane Labs heist. But what's strange here is that Agent UL Paper is somehow alive, and this is in 2017. And for anybody who tries to tell me that this heist is taking place in 2013 before the main storyline, no, it is taking place in 2017. This GTA Online has crossed the path over story mode now, and anybody who doesn't believe me, Agent 14 confirms this in gun running. He actually says that it's 2017 now. You're also introduced to a new character called Agent Rackman, an IA agent, and I didn't really care much for these characters, but I thought that a lot of the cutscenes were really funny, and the voice actors definitely did a good job with this. Like, I didn't have really any complaints with the voice actors. I thought they did a terrific job, and when I was doing these missions, I was actually a lot more interested in doing the next phase, the next part, seeing what's going to happen next. I didn't really care about the money. I cared a lot more of the story when I was playing this personally. And eventually you work your way up to stopping Avon, and you fight your way up to Mount Chiliad, his mountain complex, in an underground Cold War bunker, which explains the whole jetpack mystery. So there was an underground bunker the whole time in Mount Chiliad, and for some strange reason, this was like one of the worst cutscenes that I've actually seen in the game, and this is right when you get up to the part where you confront Avon. For some reason, he just floats around, and like the characters don't even bother shooting at him, and then he just takes off, and you just chase him. Like they didn't even make an attempt to kill him right here, and you just chase Avon, you blow him up, you kill him. And then it's pretty much what everyone guessed. And once you kill Avon, you take him out, and you stop Clifford and his clone army right here. It goes on here. You meet Agent 14, you meet Agent Rackman, Lester. Everyone meets together, and everything basically, you get paid for it. Everything goes back to normal, and you're all told to forget about the whole incident that happened. So pretty much, everybody's pretty much guessing how this ends. I wasn't surprised by this. This was pretty much the ending that I was expecting. It's Avon stopped. Everything goes back to normal here. And one final thing I wanted to point out about the storyline is that there might be a Doomsday Part 2, and the reason I think this is because we know that Avon 100% is dead, but we don't know that Clifford is completely destroyed, because at the very end, Lester says he doesn't know exactly what happened to Clifford. We seem to have destroyed him in the mountain complex as well, but we don't know 100%. Like, at the last second, Avon could have transferred Clifford to something else, some kind of other server. Something could have happened, so it's definitely possible that there could be a Doomsday Part 2. If we look in the facility, there's spots for 2 more heists, so there could definitely be possibility for a Doomsday Part 2. I mean, some of the storyline here was generic, and some of the missions were outrageous. We're going to discuss the missions in the next part here, but I did enjoy the storyline. I did enjoy the heist, and when I was doing this heist, I mostly cared about the storyline. I didn't really care about the pay, but looking back on this now, I don't think that a lot of people are going to be replaying this heist unless they do it with 2 to 3 people, but we're going to discuss that a little later why. And I still think that the regular heist, especially Pacific Standard, will be better than Act 3 on this. So I did enjoy the storyline, but I don't think that people are going to constantly keep replaying this heist over and over again. So now let's talk about gameplay and missions. What does this heist have to offer? Well, this heist has something new called prep missions alongside setup missions, and the difference between a prep mission and a setup mission is that setup missions are always the same thing. Prep missions can be in different locations, and they can be spread around the map, and it's random each time. I've done a prep mission from a few locations, and they're at different locations each time, and it's the same prep mission. You can pay for these prep missions, but it's just not worth it. It's paying 95 grand for the first mission, and it just keeps increasing and increasing on each one. Some of these prep missions can be easy, like some of the early ones. For example, steal a ambulance, which is very simple to do. But the problem is that you have to do these missions in a free mode session. It has to be public, which means that other players can mess with you. And if other players have that heist active, they will see that stuff on the map, and they could possibly come on over and interfere with your stuff. So, I mean, the prep missions, they're a new thing. They're very easy. A lot of them are simple, but it's kind of annoying how you're forced to do them in a public session. I think everyone can agree with that. Other missions can be a little more complicated, such as when you have to break into Fort Zancudo in order to discover the location of the Akula helicopter, and you eventually get detected in Fort Zancudo, then you gotta fight your way out. I figured that the best way to do these missions in the future is if you have somebody go breaking into Fort Zancudo, and then you have somebody else flying around getting ready to steal the helicopter. It'll actually save you a lot of time when you're doing these missions. And for instance here, like I said, we discovered the location of the Akula, and we all have to leave Fort Zancudo afterwards. We have to fly across the map. We have to fly to LSIA now, and we have to steal an Akula, and then we have to take that back to the facility. So some of these missions are simple. Other ones can be a lot longer. One thing that I love is that this heist included a lot more stealth missions in it, and what's great about these stealth missions is that even if you get detected on it, for example, here you have to remain stealth outside, but once you get inside the facility, you will, if you get detected, it'll only make the mission harder, but it won't fail the mission, which makes it a lot better. However, doing these kind of missions with randoms would be an absolute nightmare. These missions are not as simple as the other heist missions where you could handle a lot of them with random. You have to have people in your party talking to you when you're doing this, otherwise you're going to struggle with these missions. Like one guy has the potential to mess this whole mission up, so that's what's kind of annoying. But this mission is great and all. You have to you have to infiltrate a server farm, and you have to extract data from the servers. But what's annoying about this mission is, even if you keep it to 100% stealth and you kill every single person in this room, if you hack 3 servers, you are going to get caught, and the noose is going to come in. That's kind of annoying and kind of not worth doing the stealth if that happens. I mean, you should be able to leave completely stealthily if you do the mission completely stealth. I don't know why you still get detected even if you do the mission stealth. That's kind of annoying. And this heist also has some of the most outrageous enemies that I've seen. As you guys see right here, this is the most outrageous enemy that I've seen in GTA Online. I think everybody can agree with that. We have invisible Juggernauts now. Not only Juggernauts, but we have invisible Juggernauts. And the only way to see these guys is if you use a thermal scope. And these guys can be really annoying to take down, but if you use a bunch of explosives and you all gang up and use cover, you can still take them down easily. But these guys are just a nuisance, and they're a new enemy type. Other missions can be very, very annoying, such as this one right here with the Avenger. I think this mission pissed everybody off the first time they did it. I actually was one of the lucky people, and we completed this on our first attempt. Nobody actually failed on this one. But you go into this hangar, and it's everything looks simple. It looks like you're going to get the Avenger, no problem. All of a sudden, the lights go out. You have to fight a ton of Merryweathers, a ton of them. I recommend using a thermal scope of a sniper rifle on this, but you have to fight a ton of these guys, and you have to fight your way all the way up to the next level, and then the level above that, and you have to fight all the way still across the hangar. There's more guys up here, and you have to restore the power. This mission can just be really frustrating. But personally, this is not the most annoying mission in the game. I think this is an annoying mission, but I don't think this is the most annoying mission in the game. Let me show you guys what I think is the most annoying mission in the game. This one. Escort UL Paper. This, I think, is the most annoying mission in the entire heist. Out of all the acts, this mission is just so annoying and just so time-consuming. This mission took me and my friends 15 minutes to complete. That's how annoying this mission is. And basically what happens is 2 people are driving a Sam right here, and what's annoying about the Sam is that you have to stop it. The driver has to stop it and has to activate the Sam in order to for the gunner to use it, and which requires a lot of teamwork. So if this is a random that you're playing with, oh man, don't expect teamwork here. And you have to just blow up wave after wave after wave of helicopters. I think I blew up like 100 helicopters on this mission. This mission is just so annoying and so time consuming. And UL Paper is so annoying too, because he flies this little Havoc helicopter, and even though the Havoc is one of the fastest helicopters in the game, he's taking his sweet ass time when he's flying all the way across the map. He flies all the way from Paleto Bay to Sandy Shores. He flies right where the cocaine lab is. So it's kind of annoying. This mission is just so annoying and so time consuming. And if you ram a lot of the vehicles with the Chernobog will explode and the mission will fail. So you have a ton of enemies on the ground and like hundreds of helicopters that you're just rushing you. So this mission is just really frustrating and just really annoying. So I mean, the heist is fun and does have some great missions, but some of the missions can just be so annoying, especially like this Chernobog mission. Other missions, while not straight up annoying, can be very, very hard, such as the Act 3 finale, the final finale. This is probably the hardest finale out of all the heists, including Act 1, Act 2, and the 5 regular heists. So this is the hardest finale that I've played. And this is the #1 mission where I think I've killed the most amount of enemies. I have killed so many enemies in this mission. There's so many enemies to go through. This mission will probably take you 20 to 30 minutes to complete it if you're doing it. And that's even if you're doing it with a good team. If you're doing it with a bad team, this can take you up to an hour because people will constantly keep dying. And I mean, I personally, for me, I like the challenge. I like the challenge in doing a giant mission like this. But then the question is the pay going to be worth it? And that's for the next part of the video. But right here, you have to go through, you have to fight so many of Avon's goons. And eventually, when you get up, you have to do these hacks. And a lot of people have been complaining about these hacks, but let me show you guys them. So here, to discuss the hacks on this. The hacks, I like them personally. Some people would find them annoying, but I like them personally because I wanted a challenge. And the idea of it basically is to link this blue wire around and try to find a pattern to destroy all the packets. So these blue orbs that you see, you have to try to push this wire around, and you have to destroy all the packets with it. And once you destroy all the packets, you move on to the next server. And the first ones can be pretty easy. You just basically go around this. You try to move this around, but then it can get a little complicated trying to figure out exactly the right pattern, and sometimes you have to really switch these around. Sometimes you even have to start from the beginning again. You have to start again. But if you're ever doing these missions, just make sure you have somebody that knows what they're doing with this, because this is definitely one of the hardest puzzles that they've added. This is definitely one of the hardest hacks that they've added. I think it actually might be the hardest hack that they've added. But if you have somebody that knows what they're doing, let them do this. Especially don't let a random player, don't let a noob do this, because it's going to be a disaster. And lastly here, my most favorite thing about this heist in terms of gameplay, and this is my favorite thing, is that you no longer are required to do this heist with 4 people. You can even do this heist with 2 to 3 people, 2 people even the minimum if you wanted to. And the best part here, the best part about this is that if somebody leaves randomly during the heist, it'll just go back to a checkpoint, and then you can just keep doing the mission. So if you start the mission out with 4 people, one guy leaves, it'll end the mission temporarily, but then it'll go back to a checkpoint. So then you can still keep doing it. So that's what's great about this heist, that you can do this with 2 to 3 people. And what's even better about this is that if you do it with 2 people, the cuts are even bigger. So if you and your friends just want to tackle the heist and you want to go at it together, you guys think you can do it on your own, then I welcome it. Do it, and you get a much bigger cut. You guys can split it 50-50, 60-40, however you want. The cuts will be huge. So I recommend doing these heists with 3 people. Don't even do them with 4. I think a lot of them can be easily done with 3 people, and everybody gets a bigger cut also. So that's what's great about these heists, is that you don't need 4 people to constantly keep doing these heists over and over again. And here we come to the final part of the review, the payouts. One thing that kind of annoyed me about the finales on these heists was that there wasn't that many roles that you could choose from. The Bogdan problem was the only one where you guys could have different roles. You have a submarine team and a helicopter team, but other than that, the Act 1 crew and the Act 3 crew, they're all the same thing. Just fighting through the facility and fighting through Avon's mountain complex. That's all it is. And also, these heist payouts are wrong. You guys see the 812,500 I have up there? That is the correct amount that you're supposed to be getting for this heist. The 650,000, that is wrong. That's when you make it on hard for some strange reason, it still tells you you're getting the normal pay, but that's wrong. The correct amount when you put it on hard for this heist, it's 812,500. On normal difficulty, it's 650,000. Let me show you the correct payouts for the other heists here. And here in this part, we have the Act 2 finale. And as you guys see, I made this on hard. And despite me making this on hard, it still tells me we're supposed to be making 950,000. But that's the wrong amount. That's the amount that you get on normal difficulty. The correct amount is 1,187,500. And if you do these with 2 people, like I said, you can make a lot more money. I suggest doing these heists with 3 people, because 3 people you can easily still complete a lot of the missions, and you can get a better payout. So if you're going to be doing these heists, do these with 3 people, because you'll get a lot more money. And also, if you have to invite that 4th random, don't do it. I'd rather just do it with 3 people then. So the payout is a lot better if you do it with 2 to 3 people versus doing it with 4 people. But it's just somebody at Rockstar messed up that they didn't update this correctly. Like when I first started these missions, this is what it tells me, 950,000, but the correct amount is 1,187,500 for this. Let me show you for Act 3 because they messed that up as well there. And here for the Act 3 finale, instead of 1,200,000, we have a total of 1,500,000. So the pay is a lot better than I initially thought, because I initially thought it was 1,200,000, but it's actually 1,500,000 if you do it on hard. And again, this mission is very hard, but I do think that if you do this mission and you do this mission with 3 people, I do definitely think that it's worth it. 4 people is still worth it, but I think that with 3 people you can still complete it. It'll be a little more challenging, but it's still possible to do it. And even with 2 people, but that's really, really hard to do. And here we come to the end of our review, and the pros are it can be done with 2 to 3 people, which I absolutely love about this heist. You no longer have to wait for that 4th person to constantly join. You wait, you wait, you wait. That 4th person finally joins, and then they leave in the middle of the heist, and then the whole thing has to restart. No longer. As long as it doesn't go below 2 people, you will not have to restart the whole heist. If somebody leaves during the heist, it'll just be taken back to a checkpoint, which is just great. So you don't longer have to rely on 4 people. And the cuts are also better if you do it with less people. And the storyline was, this is kind of a pro for the first time you're doing it, but the storyline was a funny, interesting storyline, kind of cheesy in certain points. Like, I expected the whole betrayal to happen. I think that a lot of people saw that coming, but it was a fun and interesting storyline. I think a lot of people can agree with that. I love that this heist had more stealth missions. The stealth missions were great. They were fun, especially the server farm mission. Just the only really annoying thing about that was even if you do the whole thing stealth, up until when you hack the 3 servers, you still get caught, which kind of defeats the purpose, you know? And the pay's not bad. You know, the pay on the hard difficulties, it's better. It's better than the Pacific Standard of 1,500,000. It is much more harder than Pacific Standard, though, but you can do it with less people, and you can make your cuts even bigger. And the heist is good in length, so this is a pretty long heist. So Act 1, Act 2, and Act 3, it'll probably take 1 or 2 days to complete. So it does offer a lot of quality and content. So here are the cons. There's a ridiculous amounts of enemies. Like you guys just saw the Chernobyl mission. We were just fighting so many enemies there. It was just annoying. There were so many enemies coming after us. It was out of control. I blew up probably like 100 helicopters during that mission. And some of these, like especially with the invisible Juggernauts, it just got out of control. And the final mission, oh my god, the final mission with the hack. The hack is the worst part when you're doing the hack, and the rest of the hack. Well, the hack itself is not that bad. What's bad is the people covering that person. They have to find endless waves, unlimited waves enemies over and over and over again, just constantly coming out of nowhere, and then you have to finally clear the room. So it's just ridiculous how many enemies come at you, and if you do that with 2 people, that finale, that can get out of control. And the pay doesn't reflect at a hard setting. I mean, this is a small con, but for some strange reason, like I don't know if this is a glitch or if Rockstar plans on fixing this, but I put the difficulty on hard and I get 1,200,000 on the screen, but the pay is actually 1,500,000. So it doesn't announce it to the lobby that the pay is actually higher than it is. And another con is that the missions, some of the missions are way too long. Like some of them can be way too long. Like for instance, like the Avenger mission, that one's too long. The Chernobyl mission, though probably the longest mission in the game, that one's way too long. And with the UL Paper mission where you have to rescue him, just the fact that you have to drive him so far all the way up to Sandy Shores after you fight through that huge warehouse. So some of these missions can be way too long. And another con is that the prep missions aren't in public. So, I mean, you can't. The prep missions, I'm sorry, my mistake. The prep missions are in public. So the problem here is that if somebody has that heist currently open, they'll see that the person is doing a prep mission, and they could potentially steal that and take it back to their facility, and it can interfere with your stuff, because then you have to restart the prep mission. You have to join another session. You have to do it all over again, and it can get annoying. And the prep pay setup is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Like I definitely like the idea of being able to pay for preps. That's definitely a plus in my book. But just the pay, it's just so expensive to pay for these prep missions. So I would just recommend doing them. I'm gonna do a few tests in the future where I'm gonna pay for all the preps on all the heists and just see if you can even make a profit. But I'm gonna do that test in the future. And the criminal mastermind is too low. The criminal mastermind on this, with all the challenges, you'll only get between $3 to $5 million, and that's counting the all in order and the loyalty challenge. So you will not get that much. It should be $10 million. I think there's 29 missions in total on this for the criminal mastermind. It should be another $10 million. There's no reason why it shouldn't be $10 million. It should be $10 million again. I don't understand why it's between $3 to $5 million. And if you already completed the all in order and the loyalty, you can only get like around $3.5 million for the criminal mastermind. So it's really disappointing that the criminal mastermind is so low, which makes people not want to do it, you know. And another con is you can't use many vehicles. Like a lot of the vehicles you wouldn't be able to spawn in. Like I'm really disappointed considering that a lot of these Doomsday vehicles that have been added to the heist you can't use. Like I don't understand why we can't even use the Akula. Like the Akula isn't that overpowered against enemies. I wish we could use that in more heist missions, but you can't spawn it. If you own it, you pay for it. You can't use it in these missions, not even the jetpack, which is really disappointing. And the final con here is that you need a facility to start the heist, and you know this is both a pro and a con in a way, because I mean the facility does serve the use of the heist and the orbital cannon, but it's just so annoying how you have to pay all this money for this huge building in order to just be able to start another series of missions, which then you get paid for it. So it's like you're buying a building so that you can do missions which pay you. That's kind of the idea here, and the facility doesn't really have that much to do in it. I mean, there's an armory, there's an orbital cannon, but there's no new business. If there was a new business, I would definitely praise the facility. They should have added a new business inside the facility along with the heist, like some kind of new cargo business inside the facility. So the facility would have had both cargo and it would have had the heist. So different kinds of business, you know, a new way to grind money in free mode with the facility. But no, the only point of actually going into the facility would be just to customize your vehicle or to start the heist. There's really no other point. And the orbital cannon's not even really a point, because that costs $750,000 just to use automatic targeting and $500,000 for manual. So definitely, definitely not worth it for other purposes. So, I mean, if you really want to be able to host a heist, then I guess buy it. But if you can get invited to a friend's heist all the time and your friends can always invite you, I wouldn't even bother buying the facility, especially if you're a low-level player. But I guess that's my review. Let me know what you think of this review, guys. Overall, I would give this heist an 8 out of 10. I mean, there was good things, there were some bad things, but I mean, we got a whole new heist, we got new content, new vehicles, so I would end up giving it an 8 out of 10. So I hope you enjoyed my review. Let me know what you think down below, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care, everyone.